set of Giza Dream Sheets, Mike will send you another set absolutely free. That's right, buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets and get another set absolutely free. Choose from a variety of colors in solid, stripes, and new flannel sheets. Order now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor and CEO of MyPillow. My employees and I would like to personally thank each and every one of you for all your support. I would like to tell you about my new platform, FrankSpeech.com. It's an amazing new broadcast network and social media site with great shows, including my own live show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Also, you can go to FrankSpeech.com now to get the best prices on MyPillow and My Store products. For example, you can get my 6-pack towel set, normally $109.99, now only $39.99 with your promo code. And if you buy one of my Giza Dream Sheets, you get another one absolutely free with your promo code. So go to FrankSpeech.com now and use the promo code on your screen or call the 1-800 number below to receive these exclusive MyPillow offers. Thank you and God bless.
We are experiencing instability on every level. Our government is in turmoil, the economy is fragile, and disasters are threatening our infrastructure. Americans need protection over their finances. Legacy Precious Metals helps protect your retirement through investments in gold, silver, and precious metals. We can roll your existing IRA into a gold IRA, and we are the only company that allows you to open your account online in just 5 minutes. Now is the time to protect your family's future with gold and precious metals. Call and speak to one of our IRA experts and build your financial legacy with us. Legacy Precious Metals.
Welcome back to John Bachman Now. It has been now 267 days since the January 6th breach of the Capitol, and the feds still have not charged anyone with sedition or inciting an insurrection. And today, subpoenas have landed now for 11 officials who planned rallies at the Capitol on January 6th. Now, the latest round of subpoenas coming after the House committee investigating the breach of the Capitol demanded records and testimony from 4 of former President Trump's close advisors and associates who were in contact with him before and during January 6th. Now, that includes former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications Dan Scavino, and former Defense Department official Kash Patel, as well as Steve Bannon. Let's talk about what these new round of subpoenas mean for the Special Select Committee on January 6th and the broader criminal investigation. Let's welcome in former U.S. Attorney and Executive Director of Right on Crime, Brett Tillman. Brett, great to talk to you.
Great to see you, John.
All right, so let's talk about these subpoenas. It's obvious who they're kind of going after. You know, some of these folks don't face any criminal charges. You know, I think most of them don't face any criminal charges. I haven't seen all the subpoenas yet. And we see kind of the slow pace at which the criminal investigations are moving. So let's separate the select committee for a second. What do you think is the real motivation behind these subpoenas based on the folks who they're going after?
Well, John, this is not a serious investigation. It's just not. Anybody that is looking at it cannot have a sense that it's like the 9/11 Commission or the Warren Commission. These were handpicked individuals to be on this select commission, and it's more, a dog and pony show aimed at trying to further divide the political landscape that we have. And you can see now they're targeting individuals that, no one in their right mind suspected or believed that any of them were at the heart of or pushing for some sort of insurrection. It's absurd, and it's embarrassing that this is where we're at on politics in this country. Yeah,
they're subpoenaing the ladies from Women for Trump, but I didn't see any subpoenas for the congressional police officers, and apparently they were told by the FBI that this was going to happen. I don't think they're subpoenaing those people, are they?
Yeah, we haven't seen that. And you look at who needs to be subpoenaed. We need to know in the police force, the Capitol Police Force, what did they know? When did they know it? We need to know, what involvement the FBI had in this. What were the undercover informants doing? Were there individuals that were clearly instigating this? And do we have a clear picture of that? We don't have any of that. So what we're seeing then is subpoenas that give them give their political side emboldens them as they go forward.
The other thing, too, is yesterday I rewatched the Trump administration's, his legal defense's presentation during the last impeachment proceeding. And again, this is going to happen again. It was embarrassing for Democrats then, but they played the montage of Democrats condoning and sometimes, I guess, endorsing the violence that we saw over the summer of 2020. They have no leg to stand on here, and they're going around the circle again. The other thing too I wanted to ask you about this, aside from the 1-6 Commission, this is dealing now with the criminal investigations here. We talked about this yesterday, but there was a woman named Dawn Bancroft. Now, she's gotten a lot of media attention because of what she apparently said. She had allegedly said that she wanted to shoot Nancy Pelosi in the head. But yesterday she pleaded guilty, saying that she would like to accept her responsibility for her part in all of this. But the charges are misdemeanors. Threatening to shoot the House Speaker in the head should be a serious charge. Why do you think the government charged her with a misdemeanor here?
I represent, one of the defendants in this, and I have pleaded with the Department of Justice to approach these cases with, individual justice in mind, which they're supposed to do under their policies. Look at each particular case. There are many people that went into the Capitol that day that did not have any criminal intent. Right. Many, like my client, who thought that it was an open Capitol, much like, the Capitol here in Utah and across the country. There are many that you can walk into. She was not a real, big Trump supporter, and she went into the Capitol and then walked out, and that was it. But they seem to have adopted a zero tolerance policy and also a one size fits all for every single case they're doing. And so you're seeing misdemeanors charged across the board, which seems totally contradictory to what the narrative has been, that this was the most violent insurrection this country has seen since, 9/11 and before.
And I think the other thing, too, about those words, when I look at it, it's such a, interesting situation. Tragic, of course, but the herd mentality of this organization, it reminds me of something like, after a football game, I don't think they charged her with a more serious crime because I do believe the federal prosecutors don't think that was her actual motive. She probably said this, what's considered an excited utterance, but this has become like the QAnon shaman, the narrative for this type of stuff. The charges that federal prosecutors are putting in place don't support the headlines in most of the media, Brett. And, this is something else we've talked about here. They're overcharging, they're under-delivering, and it just raises a lot of questions about, the priorities here and a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, and John, these are not just simple misdemeanors that they're getting. While that's their criminal charge, they are putting on no-fly. They're being put on no-fly lists. They are being watched. They are mandating that their phones be turned over so that they can geo-track their phones.
And they're getting this is sentences, right? Like this never happens for misdemeanors. Look, there has to be something done. These people have to be held to account. But when you see so many other crimes going unpunished in this country, you think about the political implications here. Really does raise a lot of concerns. Brett, great to talk to you as always. Look forward to the next one.
Likewise. Thanks, John.
All right. A Marine Lieutenant Colonel who publicly criticized the Biden administration's evacuation from Afghanistan is now behind bars, and the White House has not said anything about this. No statement. For a look at this story, let's welcome in senior White House correspondent John Gizzi. John?
Most Americans have not heard of Lieutenant Colonel Stu Scheller, but that's changing very rapidly. The decorated Marine officer and veteran of Afghanistan is now incarcerated and awaiting what looks to be a court-martial. His attorneys began pretrial motions this morning, and what is expected is a very rich and provocative legal proceeding about just what officers can and can't say when they serve at the pleasure of the Commander-in-Chief. In the case of Colonel Scheller, considered an exemplary Marine who had a very elite command, he criticized the administration for the exit from Afghanistan. When told to be quiet by superiors, he put his criticism on social media. For that, he was facing the end of his career. So he resigned his commission in the Marine Corps early, something that would normally short-circuit a court-martial. So far, Newsmax has learned the Pentagon and the Marine Corps have not accepted his resignation, making a court-martial almost inevitable. It should be pointed out that my colleague, Kimberly Helkett from Al Jazeera, brought up an interesting dichotomy. The president has yet to speak on the case of Lieutenant Colonel Scheller. She asked Press Secretary Jen Psaki a few days ago, but he called Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman a hero when the then U.S. Army officer testified against his commander-in-chief, President Trump, and criticized his policy on Ukraine. Does President Biden, Kimberly asked, consider Lieutenant Colonel Scheller a hero as well? Jen Psaki said she'd get back to us. We're still waiting for that answer. John?
All right, John Gizzi for us at the White House. Thanks, John. Lieutenant Colonel Scheller's parents will be speaking with Eric Bolling today. That's at 4 p.m. right here on Newsmax. All right, still ahead this hour, a liberal think tank president stepping down from his post over domestic violence accusations. It's not just that. Wait till you see what this guy has said before. You may have heard of this guy. We'll talk about this with our panel, and we'll have the details next.
They said it could never happen here, but millions are backing the dangerous new socialism. Leaders pushing a radical agenda of big spending and more control over your life. Watch Socialism in America, only on Newsmax.
Every day your body's engaged in a microscopic battle, and it's your immune system's job to detect, deflect, and destroy these invaders and to keep you healthy. One daily dose of Texas Superfood is loaded with the vitamins and minerals and nutrients from 55 raw fruits and vegetables. So your best defense these days is a healthy immune system, and Texas Superfood can help you get it. So if you can't, won't, or don't eat all your fruits and vegetables every day, Texas Superfood is made for you.
They call you the dumb money. They, meaning the big firms on Wall Street, don't want you to succeed unless you hand your money over to them. They use your inexperience against you. But I stand with you, the individual investor driving this market. I'm Charles Payne. We're in the midst of a retail investor revolution, and I want to arm you with the strategy to help maximize your investing and not settle for crumbs. It's a strategy I've been using for years to beat the market. I give you all the details of my newest book, Unstoppable Prosperity. And today, I want to give you a copy for free.
Just cover shipping to receive Charles Payne's new book for free. Call or go to unstoppableprosperity.com right now, and you'll also receive all these additional free gifts. Together, a $134 value, yours free. Call 800-810-6767 or go to unstoppableprosperity.com now. That's 800-810-6767 or unstoppableprosperity.com.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful, so we set out to create a better home selling experience with a network of the most successful real estate agents in America that'll sell your home for as little as a 2% commission.
The icing on the cake with the Ideal Agent was that we saved $12,000 in commission.
We would definitely use Ideal Agent again. The whole process was so positive for us.
Excellent service.
Getting right to the point, hiring Ideal Agent, I wish we would have done that sooner. And we would have saved 6 months of time and mortgage payments that would have probably never happened if we would have just gone with them first.
They were so stress-free. The whole process was amazing, and I would definitely recommend them.
We certainly recommend Ideal Agent now to all of our family, all of our friends. It's just a great experience.
We are not a discount brokerage. These are top local agents that'll get you the best results.
Germs invade through your nose, the body's air filter. But how do you clean it? Navage uses powered suction to help flush out congestion, allergens, mucus, and viruses. Millions use drug-free Navage to breathe better and feel healthier. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
All right, welcome back. The president of a liberal think tank who tweeted about beating the McCloskeys, you know the McCloskeys, beating their brains in. He's now stepped down amid domestic violence allegations. Politico reporting that Jerry Taylor, who is the co-founder and president of the Niskanen Center, has resigned after being charged with violently attacking his wife. Taylor was arrested in early June. He denies the accusations, but says he pleaded guilty in exchange for the charges being dismissed as long as he completes a domestic violence and substance abuse prevention program. Now, this is the same guy that the Federalist reported in June of 2020 that said in a now deleted tweet that, quote, if I were in that march and these racist lunatics were waving guns at me, I'd like to think I'd rush them and beat their brains in, and I wouldn't apologize for it for one gosh darn second. Although he didn't say gosh darn, he said something else that I can't say right now on TV. Let's welcome in Jack Brewer, retired NFL captain and the CEO of the Brewer Group, also conservative commentator Chrissy Clark. Yikes. One thing I think we know is consistent a lot of times is these folks have demons, obviously, here, as the case with this guy. But putting it out there, like, this is the type of stuff, this tweet was out there for a long time. Nobody seemed to worry about it too much. But because it was targeting the McCloskeys, Jack, it was okay, I guess. Nobody seemed too concerned about it back then.
Of course, it's the double standard that we always see. For some reason, conservatives get this perspective from liberals that we are the violent ones, that we are always the ones that are out there to promote violence, no matter if you're talking about President Trump, those that follow him. But in a situation like this, it gets overlooked. And not until he actually does something wrong where you start talking about domestic violence, you start talking about all the issues that liberals like to say are social issues from their point that they stand for and that conservatives don't. Then you start to really see underneath the sheet. You get to raise the curtain up and see who they truly are. And usually they start to reveal themselves, no matter if we're talking about our president, who we've all seen and start to understand who he really is by his actions, or you're seeing members of Congress and even seeing what's happening with our military in so many different ways. Yeah. People that out of one side of their mouth, but, in all actuality, who they are is not what they say.
Only in kind of liberal think, Christy, would you have someone who is trying to condemn something that they don't like involving guns, as the case is in the McCloskeys. This guy obviously didn't agree with that. But using violence to kind of justify why you don't like violence. How do we square that?
I don't know. First off, my first impression when I saw this was I cannot believe that he thought rushing a man who's armed with a gun would be a good idea. This man seems a little unhinged, in my opinion. But what this really shows is the liberal elites. It's always the elites that want to argue for gun control and want to argue that there's no need to be armed because this man was never put in this kind of a situation. He likely lives in Northwest D.C. or in one of the ritzy suburbs like Arlington, McLean, or up in Bethesda, Maryland. He's not dealing with this, and he doesn't understand the importance of these issues to people in the middle of America. And it just goes to show the groupthink of DC right now is all about issues that don't really have any issue with the average American. They're so out of touch, John, it hurts.
It is interesting that DC has so many think tanks where these great ideas are supposed to come from, but there are no good original ideas that ever come from Washington, D.C., ever. All right, let's switch gears a little bit here and talk about this whole whip narrative that is completely unraveled. Even CNN now is pushing back against the narrative. Let's take a listen.
But the whips narrative, it took hold, and then, it was... do you feel like some news outlets just didn't do enough, weren't scrutinizing that narrative enough on day one or hour one?
Some of the initial descriptions of those images were just patently false. There's now video out there that provides more context.
I think it's a case where something went viral on social media, Brian, and news organizations said, did we have that? And they probably should have looked a little more into the matter.
All right, and this is where I use the Ron Burgundy line. I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with their ability to compartmentalize all the other things that were said on CNN just the week before those comments. Here they are.
To me, it does smack of a bygone era of slavery, aided by reports of people being beaten, whether with a riding crop or the reins, most likely.
Chasing or charging migrants on these horses. At least one appears to use what looks like a rope or a lasso.
The patrol agents were doing with the reins or whip, whatever, with the intent to lash, to hurt people.
Yeah, that's April Ryan there at the very end. I mean, she's basically an activist in that room, but You know, we still don't have an apology. We still have this fake investigation going on. And I feel really for these Border Patrol agents. Their lives have been ruined.